another episode again. Guys, thank you so much for your comment. Thanks for sharing the video. Thanks for everything. I mean, you guys you are awesome. I'm still your babe. I'm still your lady. I'm still your personal bestie, Taiwo Joseph. And on another episode on Inside, we are going to be talking about something so unique. I mean, even myself, I was wondering, how are we going to go about this topic? And the topic is Beyond the Bushel. Is that ringing a bell? Yeah, I know it is. Beyond the Bushel. And I'm so sure we are familiar with the story from the scriptures about when Jesus Christ was talking about lighting a candle. And I know we read that verse all over and over and over again, but today you will get a new insight to that topic, to that word. And I won't be doing it alone. I have a special guest here in the studio, and he is no other person than Pastor Ajibola Gabriel. Well, some of you might get to know about that name just today, or might be getting to hear that name now. Yeah, but he's such an amazing person. I mean, he's someone that I can listen to for 6 hours non-stop, and then I'll be like, that kind of look like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna think that. He's full of word, he's full of the Spirit of God. And it's not actually a coincidence that he wrote a book titled Ignite, and from the book we have something like Beyond the Bushel, Ignite. So he's the best man to really narrate what this topic is all about. And I'll be handing over to Pastor Gad to take us on the journey on how we can actually live a life beyond the bushel, how we can ignite. And that's what I feel that nice and hot. So Pastor Gad, can we have you, sir?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Tao. It's such a privilege, and I'm really glad to be
here. You are.
Yeah, and you're looking so pretty. You're looking so pretty. I'm tripping. So I'm going to be just talking for a little while on what you asked for, and there's a copy of the book Ignite. So I'm just going to be taking some excerpts, and then I'll just run. I don't need to read it though, I know what is inside, so I wrote it actually. Okay, so one of the things we need to understand as individuals and as people is that we are created as expressions. The design of an expression is that it can manifest light. And what do I mean the design of an expression is that it can manifest light is the way your vessel or the way you are wired as an individual, the way you are wired as a person is to be a person of light. You would not find full proof of your value unless it is in light. You're not going to find you won't find your real essence. It's like walking into a furniture shop and you see all kind of chandeliers, you see all kind of lights, you see all kind of beautiful bulbs and vessels. But none of them makes any sense until you can plug it in. It's the light that reveals their beauty. Not just the crafts, not just the design, not just the maker, but the fact that they are tuned to purpose and starts to shine. So when you walk into a house at night, even though there are 1,000 bulbs in that house, it still makes no sense. The house would still be dark. What would make those vessels find purpose is when they give room for themselves to shine. So, Ignite begins to speak to the hearts of every person, not even just believers, every individual, that your design can only be found in light. You can't find it anywhere else. You won't thrive anywhere else. It takes you to be connected to the source. It takes you to be connected to your creator to manifest that beautiful light. That is what would give full proof of your purpose. That is what we give full proof of your identity. So I'm just going to tell you something a little more, and then I can wrap up today's session, as brief as it is. And I'm going to pick it from this book, and I'm going to look first at the introduction. Not even chapter 1, the introduction. I feel like there's so much treasure, there's so much beauty in the introduction that I don't want you to miss it. Now, the introduction begins to talk about two major themes. It begins to talk about the quest for knowledge, the quest for light, the quest for life, and understanding the mysteries, the puzzles, and the deceptions that surrounds our world. Now, most of the times as individuals, when we begin to grow and live, we begin to question a lot of things. We want to find answers to a lot of things. We want to know why we are here. A lot of people are asking the purpose question. Why am I here? What am I here to do? But then the first thing is not what are you here to do? The first question you need to ask is who am I here to be? You need to be something before you can do something. If not, what you're doing would not have clarity until you are personally defined as something. So we keep asking a whole lot of questions. Is there God? Is there heaven? Is there hell? Is there something called truth? What makes a lie a lie? What is knowledge? What is ignorance? What is life? What is light? What is darkness? Is there really such a phenomena as a devil? Is there really such a thing as evil? Can't I just live my life the way I want to live it and just die, and that's the end of my existence? We begin to question a whole lot of things. We want to know, how did we even get here in the first place? What are the forces that manipulated my existence? Am I just a product of sexual interaction, or am I an intentional creation? We need to know that. So if I'm a product of sexual interaction, then I might say that once I die, I'm done. But if I'm an intentional creation, then I can say that, then I still have life after death. So we want to question these things and see, and we begin to see that the more we find answers, the more we ask more questions. I mean, there is never a point where you will get enough answers not to have any questions anymore. You begin to see that knowledge is progressive. And the more you know about a thing, the more you're inquisitive, the more you want to know more. So what makes Christianity true? What makes Christ true? What makes where I am false and wrong? What makes my identity or what I think I'm chasing wrong? So if we don't understand the mysteries, if we don't understand the deceptions, the puzzles that is created in the world, we would not really know how to thrive and to be true to our identity. Now, the first thing I would not first thing, I've mentioned a couple of things. One of the things that I would like you to know on set, actually, is you need to understand the ideology of what knowledge is. Now, there's something called knowledge, and there's something called ignorance. There's something called light, and there's something called darkness. There's something called life, and there's something called death. And most of the times, we think that light is unending, and then darkness is finite. I mean, what do I mean? We think that death is the end of a thing, and we think that ignorance is the absence of knowledge. However, there's so much more. Ignorance is not the absence of knowledge. Death is not just the absence of life. And we need to understand these things that when you begin to talk of things like darkness, when you begin to talk of things like death, when you begin to talk of things like ignorance, we're actually talking of a reverse and opposite direction to light, which means if light is infinite, so is death. If light is infinite, so is darkness. If knowledge is infinite, so is ignorance. So I'm going to make that very clear so that you understand my terminology. Now, most of the times after you live for, let's say you're living for 70 years and then you die, you think death is the end of that life. Wrong. You can actually be living and be dead while living. Life is a person. Life is Jesus. Life is a person. That's as clear as that. Now, life is to progress in the knowledge of God. Death is to progress away from that knowledge. It's that simple. You don't die by dying. You die by running in reverse to life. It's not an end. It's also an eternal journey. It's an infinite journey. So you don't die by dying. You die by running in reverse to the knowledge of life. Now, what is darkness? What is light? Darkness is not the end of light per se. Light is infinite. Also is darkness. Light is the room created for you to thrive. Light is the room created for you to find expression. Light is the room created for you to find your purpose. Light is the room created for your manifestation. So what simply is darkness? Darkness is to progress away from that reality. Even though you are alive, even though you have booming businesses and stuff, as long as you're progressing away from the direction of your model, away from the direction of your purpose, away from the direction for which you're created, that already is darkness. So what is ignorance? Ignorance is not necessarily the absence of knowledge. It is often the presence of anti-knowledge. Now, there's the darkness the Bible begins to describe in Genesis chapter 1. And when you look into that darkness, it was called, in Genesis 1:2, it says, and the earth was without form and void, and darkness filled the face of the earth. I need you to know that what was without form and void is still matter. I'm going to explain. It's still matter. It's still tangible. It still consists of things that can be seen, felt, and touched. It still consists of things that can be interacted with. So we're looking at darkness as matter. Darkness as knowledge. Not all knowledge is light. Not all knowledge is light. There's knowledge of light and there is knowledge of the dark. And the knowledge of the dark is called ignorance. So, so ignorance is not the absence of knowledge per se, it's the absence of truth in knowledge. Ignorance is not the absence of knowledge, I repeat that, it is the absence of truth in knowledge. So any knowledge that does not convey the message of truth, any knowledge that does not carry the potency of the original intent of creation at which men exist in the order of light, that knowledge is ignorance. So you can keep acquiring knowledge away from the direction of light. And no matter what you know, it's called nothing. It's empty, it's void, it's untrue. But it will take the lens of light to see the vanity of what you see. It will take the lens of light to see the vanity of what you see. So I think a lot of us are in certain spaces in our lives where we know that we need to shine. And the question is not that we want to shine. Many of us want to be famous, we want to be relevant, we want to be influential, we want to build great businesses, we want to build great empires, we want to have successful ministries, we want to have beautiful families and 3 itiboribos that would be, 3 children, in case you don't know what itiboribor is. And I have 3 children that are at home, and you want to make a good home, you want to have so much things. And these things are key, of a truth. These things are important. They're really, really important. But then you now begin to question, it's not just about knowing that I'm light. You also need to know, how do I shine? How do I ignite? How do I become a person that can warm up the coldness of my world? How do I become a person that can light up the darkness around me? How do I become a person that is providing real solutions to problems? How do I become a person that understands the kingdom of light and I manifest it expressly on earth? How do I become a person that I don't think I'm doing good, but eventually my good is actually aiding the agenda of devil, of evil? So we need to understand those things, and then we need to decipher the mysteries encoded with the earth. We need to know which knowledge progresses to light. That is the knowledge that has the element of truth. Which knowledge progresses away from it. That knowledge is ignorance. We need to know which light is in that direction. We need to know what true wealth is. What does it really mean to be successful? What does it really mean to be purposeful? Is success all about money, or is success what you do with money? Is success all about what I have, or is success what you do with what you have? You need to know what is an end and what is just a process. You need to know what is result. When you begin to have, you need to know what is gold and what is gold plated. We are treasures in earthen jars. We are not treasures filled with earth. You need to understand. We're not beautiful jars of treasures then filled with sand. No, we are earthen treasures. We are treasures filled in an earthen jar. So you need to know what to look for in people. Are you looking for treasures? Are you looking for gold? Or are you looking for people that are gold-plated and filled with sand? So you need to know what success is. You need to know what purpose is. When you begin to find answers to all these things, you need to know why you should get married. You might not need to. You need to know why you should have children. You need to have an answer to all these things. And the more you progress in the knowledge of light, the more you have more questions. And it is those questions that take you deeper in God. The questions are not abominations. The questions are the reason why you get to know God better. The questions are not restrictions. The questions are the reason why you get to know God deeper, better, have answers that no one ever has. And you don't stop asking questions. You look for people, you talk to God, you look for people who already have questions. There are people who already have answers to the questions that you are asking. So that is a little bit. Yeah, that's a little bit that I'm going to share today, so that you can understand what is light and what is merely an appearance. So you understand that the devil will not necessarily come as the devil. If the devil comes as the devil, and the devil is so obviously the devil, and the devil is so obviously evil, you're not going to get anything. The devil is definitely going to come in disguises, in diplomacy, in deceptions. And you need to know which knowledge is true, so you can decipher and you can know how to manifest and be the truth of what you are created to be. Thank you so much. Thank you, Taiwo. I think I'm done now.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much. I don't even know where to start from, actually. Like, the more you are talking about what light is and what questions that we ask most of the time.
Yeah.
Like, the question we're just running through my mind, like, okay, yeah, we have all these questions all the time. And the reality of things is, those questions will not be answered by our environment or people around us, but by the light, which is Christ Jesus.
Very
And I know that you have a lot of questions to ask from what you've heard. You can always drop your comments, ask your questions. And when we are coming back for another episode, we are still going to be talking about beyond the bushel. We're going to be talking about how you can shine. You know, a lot of Christians, we are falling into this popular belief that, oh, it is the church. We should all stay in the church and manifest our giftings in the church. That is typically staying under the bushel. Like, you're supposed to stand on the hill where all hide will see you.
Yes, ma'am.
So for most Christians that actually shine and go out into the world and all, so you can always you can send your questions, you can ask, and if you want to get the book, you can also reach out to me. Just type in that you want the book and we'll send the book to you. It's such an amazing time with you, Pastor Gar. Thank you so much. And oh, yes, I forget.
Yeah.
You can also follow Pastor Gar's ministry, Precious Tribe International. You can follow them on Facebook, Instagram. You can follow their service every Sunday by 2 p.m. I followed the last week Sunday, man. It was amazing. I was really, really blessed.
Oh.
And thank you so much. I know we can go on and on, but we have to wrap up. Thank you so much for having me again today. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. I really love you guys. See you again next time on another episode. Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.